Hello, New York, and hello, world. Welcome to M Squared, the fastest growing podcast in Staten Island. We're here with a special guest today, Cory Schifter from Casale Jewelers. We're also joined by Anthony Rappuccillo of PR Cision and Mike Linfield, the Techie Geek.
Hello, hello.
Welcome, fellas. So, for those of you watching, for those of you listening, I'm wearing a suit today, which we usually don't film these in suits, but those of you who are watching, right? We had the Women of Achievement event today here in Staten Island, hosted by Caroline Harrison and her family and Brian Leyline out here. So my question for you guys, just starting out, this podcast is about marketing, branding, things like that. But branding is a big part of like self-image, right? So today, I haven't dusted off a suit in a while because of the pandemic and COVID and everything like that. And, you know,
right.
does it matter anymore? Does dressing up in the workplace really matter anymore? Is that part of like people's self-image and what they become? Do people care about it anymore?
I think I have to take this one. Absolutely, it matters. Being in a suit and a tie at all times, 100% is very important. Wait.
Where?
It doesn't matter. I had the suit on just an hour ago.
I didn't know you owned a suit.
I own 3 of them. I don't say I fit in them, but I have 3 suits. And I was just at the Woman of Achievement. It was great. I was there for my friend Denise Hennick, who received the award. Or the honor, and I did have a suit and tie on. I was told in my invite that you must wear a suit and tie. I had a suit and tie. The event ended. I drove home. I put my T-shirt back on, and here I am.
I think you notice it more when you don't dress up ever. So we'll use you as an example, right? So if you wore a suit and tie, it's like an anomaly, right? It's like hell opened up, the earth is going to concave, and someone's going to die. But when Dan does it, you're just like, oh, he had something to do today.
Now, it is different coast to coast. So I grew up, I lived in Arizona for 3 years in corporate America in Arizona. And Mike, the owner of the company, and we're talking a valuation of almost $1 billion company, would show up in Bermuda shorts, a T-shirt and flip-flops and walk around the office. In New York, you didn't really see that prior to COVID and the work from home and what you had, but it was very normal there. So it really is a coast to coast thing. I'm going to be the first one to tell you, it depends in the field you're in, right? I understand why the finance guys are on suits. Hey, it's probably time to pivot and change. But in the IT world, do I really need to be in the suit? Does that make me any better than the person that wears a suit?
To justify your charges and your prices, yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Cory, you deal with very high-end clientele, right? So do you see a difference in the way that people are coming into your store or what they're doing when they're going for bigger purchases? Do you feel a difference with your staff as to...
I think we dress appropriately. The business casual does come into account. I do have women that work for me. They do dress professionally. I wouldn't say overdressed, but at the same time, I don't wear suits to work. It's not my thing. At events, I do, and bigger client meetings, I guess, depending on the situation, I would. More vendor specific when trying to impress. But other than that, I think business casual is the way to go.
But I'm going to say you don't wear suits to work. But I've seen you in suits a number of times appropriately. But look at this. You have your, I don't even know what that's called, the collar of the sleeve or whatever that's called, flipped up. It matches.
Collar of the sleeve.
What is that called? I don't even know.
The decorative cuff?
The decorative cuff. Matching your bracelet there.
Yep.
So
yeah.
So you're still, but again, you're a jeweler, and you're going to always have accessories, right? Because you want me to look and go, oh, that's a great look. Right. What type of accessory will match my T-shirt?
Right. And those are great headphones. They look wonderful. The technology of how this is all working is very creative, too. So you see, it all works hand in hand. Right? You got to dress the part.
So let's get into the branding and marketing side of it. So you have a very unique opportunity here to start growing your business in a different way. You've opened a concierge service out in Red Bank. And you're going from a place where you're very established to now going to being the new kid on the block and trying to figure it out all over again. So can you share a little bit about your story quickly, how you got started into it, and talk about this new venture, and are there similarities of some of the things that you're seeing is building a brand in Staten Island to Red Bank?
Right. Great questions, by the way. And you can tell me to shut up anytime you want because I can talk about this all day. But the interesting part is I came into the business in 2009, and my mom and dad were in the business since 1986. They started independent jewelers after my dad had sold his taxi medallion, a New York City taxi medallion, and just trying to make a better life for our family. He started in the jewelry business. So in 2009, They operated under Independent Jewelers Market, which was next door to Cafe Luna on Highland Boulevard. In 2009, when the economy started to dip and things started to happen, my father was sick with MS and multiple heart issues and couldn't manage the retail side of the business. My brother was managing manufacturing, which we got into, and I left my job at Merrill Lynch / Bank of America and came to take over the family business and tried to figure out how to run a jewelry store and how to manage people. The problem was there were no people to really manage because no people were coming in back then. But that kind of, I feel like that was a blessing in disguise that I had to figure it out myself. Nothing was really handed to me, and I think some people probably think that, but it's okay. But no, you know, Casale Jewelers was a reputable name on Staten Island, and he did a great job at doing it. I guess, but when I took over, things were a little slow based on the economy and whatnot. So just prayed a whole lot and met a lot of good people along the way. And instead of me trying to tell them about me, I tried to learn more about them. I remember Phil Guarneri was instrumental in kind of introducing me into the networking world. And kind of Christine Fiorenza as well brought me into different meetings and such. And, you know, my first endeavor really was going to the, what did we do? The breast cancer walk at Clove Lakes Park. It was probably the rainiest day I've seen in Staten Island ever back in 2009. And we set up a table and we sold cookies. And we said hi to people and met people, and I just felt good. I felt good being able to raise whatever I could. I didn't have any money at the time because I put all my money into the business, but being able to sit there and just help and then extend that to doing the American Cancer Society Business Council that we had formed, where we did events to raise money for them, was really the beginning. And then you realize, like, there's nothing easy in business, and I'm sure you guys know and you feel the same way. It's very easy to say, oh, let's put an ad in a newspaper, or let's, nothing against that. But
No, it's fine. Make fun. We do that all
oh,
day.
do you? I was like, wait a minute, I'm in
They're
a
not
media
giving you a
company. Wait
paper
till the
anymore.
adverts.
Wait till we tell
But,
the
I guess
Tell them the story about the
watches,
the watches.
the watch batteries.
to watch batteries. So my first promotion, my dad said, all right, listen, you call Lisa Taff over at the Advance. Lisa, if you're listening, thank you for this, by the way. But you call Lisa Taff and you tell her to put a Post-it on the front page of the newspaper. And I'm like, all right, well, what is that going to do? Well, put a free watch battery. He goes, you'll see, you'll have people storming through the door, and you'll be so happy, because I didn't have anybody walking in the door. So we had a doorbell system that would ring, right? And when you heard the doorbell, you get excited, like, right, someone's here. You know, you don't know what it is, but that day, that doorbell was ringing like crazy, and I was dressed in a suit. How funny is that? So I was dressed in a suit that day because I was getting ready for the
gotta look
rush,
good.
right?
First
I felt
impression.
good, right? It was ready.
You only get one chance to make a first impression.
People are coming in, right? So doorbell's ringing more than it did in 2 weeks, right? So I turn the corner from my back office, and I go to walk downstairs, and the store was filled. But unfortunately, it was senior citizen men wanting 10 watch batteries because I didn't put limit one per customer, right?
Well, that's how you
So
learn.
I was called a fraud. I was called a this or that. I called every name in the book, and I had one guy actually go across to the deli and buy multiple newspapers. You could thank me for that, Staten Island Media Group, and actually
to
come
you.
back and try to redeem them for his multitude of watches, whatever. So what did that do for me? It did two things. One is I was able to get away quick when they all turned their backs and ran to the back office because I didn't want to come back out. But the second thing is my staff saw that I was human, right? And this was Dominic Casale, the old owner, his staff that stayed with me, that wasn't sure where they were going to be when my parents and my family finally closed the second location they were in, the original. And it saw that I was human and I had a personal side. And it was at that moment that I guaranteed them, somehow I'm going to figure this out. Just give me some time, right? I just need to see what I need to do. And that's when I went to my first chamber mixer at the Renaissance, actually. And remember?
We're old,
and,
bro.
I know. It's so bad.
So what year was that?
2009.
And look, I'm going to say, so I started my business 2013. And very quickly, within my first year, I started going to chamber stuff. And I remember going out and seeing you everywhere and looking up to you because you grew this business. And look, if you really think about it, you did it really quick, right? If you did this in 2009, that was 2013 when I'm seeing you everywhere. So within 4 years, you exploded the business from waiting for the doorbell to ring to having people in that building.
Thank you.
One of the original 40 under 40 members, one of the original executive club members. Come on, you go way back.
I got a list.
One of the recurring themes on the show is that community is important, giving back is important. And from where I stand, and just to reiterate what Mike said, you kind of wrote the book back in 2009 on how to do that. Because a lot of people weren't doing it the way you were doing it. You were killing yourself, because we're friends and I would see you killing yourself. But you were at everything.
Yeah.
You were donating to everything. You were putting up. So talk a little bit about how that helped you there, and how do you think you can translate that to the Red Bank community?
Great question, and thank you guys. I'm very humble.
We don't really like
what
you
you
that
said.
much. I'm just saying.
Well, I know.
We're on
but
the show.
You,
so
finally
I'm
said, you,
trying to
both
be
fin-
nice.
you both finally said nice stuff.
Trying to be
you
nice.
know, it's very rare. So you're
It's just on air.
choking me up a little bit. But thank you guys. I never really thought you. I don't know. I just do, and I live my life. I have young children that if I'm going to tell them what they should do, then I should lead by example too. But I honestly just felt that being right to be able to get involved in the community, be creative on how we market, and be creative on how we give back. So the big difference between, let's say, 10 years ago and now is my kids were babies and I was building a business. So yes, I was everywhere. I was everywhere. My wife didn't work. She was home with the kids, gratefully. She was able to raise our children, our 3 beautiful children. And
That's why they're beautiful and really
they
good
look like
now.
my wife. Yeah,
That's why they're
You
smart
were
as well.
They're
Smart.
not bald. They're not bald yet, or hairy
smart.
face, and they're smart kids. And she was able to do a great job raising them, and I was able to be out as much as I was, and I enjoyed it. I met so many good people along the way, and that's kind of where the brand came from. As small businesses, I think we have to realize that the brand is us. When you think of branding, you could think, okay, Pepsi's a brand, right? And Pepsi is a recognizable can of soda that you can put everywhere, right? Because they did their job in the beginning. I guess for Casale Jewelers, my logo now, because I worked 10 years of being out in the community so much that the logo is pretty much presenting us as a business that
It's
gives
your
back.
face. It could be your face. That's how good it's
on the
become.
diamond.
But that's what it's become.
Not yet, but maybe one day. But I guess
Cory Casale.
the thing is, I guess the interesting part is that, people know the logo, people know Casale, and I'm grateful for the community supporting us, and I love giving back. If I can do anything, I have a marketing budget that I deal with the Staten Island Media Group. Thank you guys. What a great relationship we have. A little shout out to you guys. But look, it doesn't happen without the work that you need to put in to build up your brand, and whether it's, going out to events, whether it is some type of paper advertising, social media, everything, it's a big piece of the pie, right? It's all a big thing. So, being out there, meeting people, helping others, seeing smiles on people's faces. Look, I'm still giving. I'm just not there, right? So I'm able to give these vacation boards, which you'll have one later, at Meals on Wheels, and also for the Grace Foundation over at the Stonehouse tonight as well. I'm able to give, but now that my children are older, I want to be at their sports games. I coach everything. So it's
And
a lot of
people
fun.
understand that, right? A lot of business owners and community understand that you want to be there for your kids, so they're going to respect you for that even more. But you're still giving back even without being there.
So Staten Island's such a different animal, though. It's a really unique
Jersey.
place. Yeah, 100%. When you're on this island and you're isolated in here, it's incredible how tight-knit the community is, the business community is, and how people give back. And we saw a lot of that yesterday, right, when we're breaking the world record with the Grace Foundation for autism acceptance. Businesses came out. They showed up. They showed their support. Not only did they financially show support, but they physically came out and got out there. So it's got to be different in Red Bank.
Yeah.
And you don't even have a storefront in Red Bank. So
the brand, again, it is different. And I think it's going to be interesting how it's evolving because it's starting, right? The Red Bank location is private client. It is much, much different. It's a jewelry store without jewelry. How's that?
That
even
makes
possible?
perfect sense.
Right? Who else would do something?
Takes a lot cheaper. You're gonna need all the inventory.
Without
Without
a
episodes.
podcast.
How about that?
Podcast.
It's a podcast without episodes.
I know.
We haven't released
Listen,
one yet.
I had a vision, and it's funny. I'll start with COVID. Right? COVID made this happen, right? Because what happened was once we reopened in June of, I guess, 2020, they made us put down these 6-foot markers all over our floor, and we realized we could only have like 7 or 8 people in at a time. So the most time that was being taken up was by engagement customers, bridal customers, people that had lengthier stays, right? So I had built up my back office in a way that was comfortable, where people could sit and not be worried about us being shut down or being too close to somebody or whatever. So I was able to do that and bring people back to an intimate, private experience that they really did appreciate. So the bridal business for us really started to build right after COVID because of that experience. So what did I do? I decided, all right, let me see if I can build out that back room that I have in Staten Island somewhere in Red Bank. And that's kind of where I did my search. and really took a class on jewelry design. So now I design engagement rings, wedding bands. I repurpose people's jewelry and stuff of what they have, and they take all their stones and remake something new, and just cater to anything that anyone
Marketing
needs.
for exes. That's a whole marketing campaign right there.
No, it's passed down, man.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
talking about the passed down from generation to generation.
Say whatever you want.
It's multi-generational, man.
Yeah, sure it is.
And the exes too. A combination.
Multiple husbands and wives.
But you took a bad thing like COVID, and you were willing to learn and adapt and pivot, and it basically changed how you're doing business and allowed you to open the second location.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you successful, because you were able to recognize, and we talk about this on lots of episodes of the 2 we have released, but on lots of episodes, that you need to pivot and you have to watch and be willing to change. Because if you just do the same old thing as everyone else, you're never going to scale, you're never going to grow. And you also do that in your marketing.
Yeah.
Yes, you work with the media group, the Style Media Group, and they help you to get your message out. But you come up with these crazy creative ideas, like which is the race for the ring.
I was going to go back to that. Go.
Yeah.
Right.
That was one of the good
So
ones.
yeah, you're like, how'd you come up with that idea?
I was driving on the Outer Bridge.
I thought you were going to say I was drunk. You're like,
No,
I was
no,
drunk.
no.
I was so drunk.
I
was drunk.
That's why. Yeah, I drank for 45 years. I've been clean for 3. So actually, it worked out well. I had a 45-year run, but I guess it's interesting. I was driving over the Outer Bridge in 2009 again, right? And it was right at the end of the summer, and I was in so much traffic. Right, I mean the shore, right, the Jersey Shore, right. 2009 was happening back then, right. It was not as much today.
It still
but,
is. We're just old.
Well,
We
you
just
know
don't
what?
experience it.
There's no traffic. Maybe I get home earlier.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the problem. But either way, I was coming back from DJ's wherever I was, and I looked up. I'm like, wow, this would be a great time to get a billboard like right over the bridge. So I remember I made a phone call, right, and I asked how much, right, and it was
10K.
no, it was like 6,000. Wait, I'm sorry, 8,000 a month, right? Right, there we go, for 6 months. So it was 48,000, and then we had to pay for it to get done. So I'm about 55 to 60,000. Number one, I just got in the business. I had no money whatsoever, right? Number two is like I'm not spending $50,000 on doing this. So as I'm sitting there on the bridge in traffic, I called Christine Garlisi, right, from the Hilton. And she didn't answer right away, but then I texted her because I was in traffic, of course. And I said, hey, Christine, I have a great idea. I want to do something crazy. Just give me a call. She called me back right away, told her what I was thinking. I want to do a race for a ring. I want to give away an engagement ring, include the community. And it's a great thing. I think I want you to partner with me. I want the Hilton to be a partner. And she said, we're in. And that was it. And then we grabbed sponsors and partners in sound. Joey G, A.F. Bennett was involved, Industry Magazine. And I don't know. It grew.
The community loved it.
Yeah, people loved it.
It's a great thing.
It's
People
fun.
still talk about
It was a lot of
It's
fun.
an amazing
It was a
campaign
lot
you
of
came up
fun.
with.
A lot of fun, and I'm blessed to be able to help couples get engaged. We also dealt with some of the couples that didn't win, but you know what? At the end of the day, it was a great experience that I hope one day they could share with their kids. Right? We had video of them. We gave them everything, photos. We just made it an experience, even for those who didn't win, and we tried to help out those who had to buy a ring, of course. So and we helped raise money for charity through our comedy night that we would always do, and it was great. It was a lot of fun. It was a 3-month promotion. Right?
And how many times did you do it, though?
9.
9. That's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it had staying power.
well,
it was longevity.
it rolled, yeah.
Everyone
No,
looked
Why-
forward to it
Why'd you
before
stop
it came.
Why'd I stop it?
Rang its course.
It ran its course. Yeah, I think with COVID, with everything, with I guess just things happen. I don't know. It became a little tougher to do. I guess with the situations that I was in, and it just was something I felt like it ran its course.
Okay.
I had a great 9 years.
And also, cost went up too. I mean, I don't know your business, but
Yeah.
I'm sure a diamond 9 years ago
Right.
is a lot less expensive than
yes,
the same diamond
yes, but,
today.
Right,
no?
but now they have these lab diamonds that people are doing and stuff, which
Got
is
it.
a little bit more presentable. But at the same time, it just was. It was. We had our run. We had a great run, and I felt like it was a great time to stop and just find other ways to give back. And that's kind of why we do these boards, these vacation boards and such.
So you didn't get to do the billboard then. Did you ever do a billboard since then?
Small ones, not the Verrazano, not the Outer Bridge.
We talk about that all the time. How
Anti-billboard.
billboards are dead.
Anti-billboard.
I'm
But it's all right.
anti-billboard.
People like them.
No, I mean it's just I tried it for like 6 months once, and it was just
Gatorade,
I didn't
Coke,
like it.
Pepsi, billboards work. Branding all day.
Those
they
are
don't
the
need
ones.
to track
Right,
it. They
right,
don't need
right, right.
metrics.
They don't need it.
You need metrics. You
Yeah.
need to know who clicked. You have an agency, and I don't know if you do still work with them, but I remember when but don't you have another agency you work with as well?
I do, yeah.
So between SI Media Group, Dan, and the other agency,
Yeah.
you have a team of people that are tracking building, creating, and giving you data.
Right.
You're not getting that from a billboard.
No.
Versus, I mean,
I mean,
that's-
you know. I mean, listen. Has a profile, right? The profile is what you search, your interest, what you're looking at, what you've purchased, right? So everything gets stored up, right, in your phone, your location, where you've been, what you've been doing. So all of that comes into play, and you become a profile, right? That if I want to target that profile, I can. You can't target and say you hope somebody
You hope
drives over
someone
the
looks
bridge.
at the
Well,
That's
it
the
also
bridge,
it
yeah.
point of
helps
that
you,
is it's better
it
to
helps you
invest.
become more efficient with your dollars, right?
100%.
Because now you're able to understand acquisition costs
Right.
and leads and what you're willing to make as an investment into a potential customer,
Yeah.
and then understanding what is that lifetime value of a potential customer as they come in the door. So if they come in once for an engagement ring, they're coming back, right? They're going
Right.
to go through that experience. You're going to design a ring for them on the big screen, 3D printed out,
Right.
like on the spot.
Yeah.
3D printed.
You like that, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a really cool thing. You guys,
I didn't know
you
you
guys
were
have
doing
stuff
that.
in. Oh, I'm doing some cool stuff now.
That's cool.
That's Red Bank.
But the mold comes out like ready to go, and you're seeing the custom design piece that
That's unique.
your fiance is going to end up having.
Yeah, so that's where the training came in for Red Bank, where it's a jewelry design center / concierge, right? So like every single engagement ring we have now, there's no surprise. Right? It's just not. The surprise is when you get it.
Right.
So the girl is going to be like, oh, you tagged them in this, I pinned them in this. A guy says she wants this. The girl's there, right? Or girl with a girl, whatever it is, right? You know, everybody's there, and they always show.
Right. It's always they're always tagging.
So
the picture.
there's no surprise. They're
Who's the
getting
jeweler?
where they want.
I can't think of it. Who was the jeweler back in the day when I was buying rings and you were young? That one jeweler on Instagram that every woman in Staten Island, every woman in the country tagged him. You know who it was because we used to talk about him all the time.
Jacob?
No,
No, that was the.
he was the ring guy. I mean, and hundreds and hundreds
Where
of
was he?
thousands of
Where
views.
was he from?
He was on Instagram only.
Is-
only Instagram.
Okay.
Not even Facebook. And every woman, at least on the island I know, had them. And you would even sometimes in your
Was it a brand
reels-
or was it
was
a
a brand.
Viragio to Cory?
No, not like that.
Well, it wasn't like Scott Stinger, like I hate
No.
jewelry or
Singer.
something. Singer.
No. But either way, all right. So it wasn't that important because it didn't last.
No, it
right?
didn't last,
But
no.
the point is, every woman had that saved and would show a jeweler exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, but the thing is, the flip side is that those jewelers can't do anything really
Right.
with it because the people, jewelry stores don't want to do custom. To be honest with you, they want to sell what's been sitting in their case, you know, and that's something I guess in the bridal world I realize a lot too is that. I want to design a ring for you that's going to be brand new. You're the first one putting it on. It fits you perfectly. It fits your diamond perfectly. It's exactly what you want, and that's what we're doing now. And like Dan was saying, is I have a 3D printer. I sit there designing jewelry right in front of you, right?
cool.
So I'm you're bringing your ring up. We'll kind of massage you. We 15 minutes. Sit there and you have the wax going, and then boom, there you see it, and you have the wax, you have the design files I give you and stuff. It's a really cool experience. And actually, I had a customer. He was a doctor in a hospital in New Jersey who was a cardiologist. So he was grateful enough to give me an exam that day.
Wow. There you go.
During the 15 minutes of the wax printing, he
That's
checked my
funny.
EKGs. I showed him everything. She was a nurse. She was checking my everything, my blood pressure. It was very interesting, actually. Which so there's benefits too.
To go back to Dan's opening comment, I almost think that that's the equivalent of your suit. And I'll tell you why I'm thinking this. Because for someone to sit down and spend 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000, if we're talking engagement rings and
Yeah.
wedding rings, right? You're spending a lot of money. And while you may not be wearing a suit, if the guy or girl who's making this purchase has him designing this ring, going out of his way, that's almost the value added that while it's not a suit, it's still something that's equivalent that it justifies. Like if I just went to you and you were like, yeah, the ring's 50.
Yeah.
And I bought it, or I sat with you and you said it was 50, but you did all these little things, the intricate details. I think that adds extreme value to what you do and to the consumer too. I mean,
makes
I feel
it
more
unique.
comfortable. I would feel more comfortable buying that, making that
Space
purchase.
is gorgeous, one, but like your storefront here in Staten Island on Richmond Road, it looks like a piece of jewelry.
Yeah, yeah.
But in Red Bank, you're going into this intimate, like really nice setting. It's clean, it's bright, it's vibrant. There's pictures of when you were with the beers and actually in the diamond mines
Yeah,
and things like that.
yeah.
It's just it's an experience. It's not you're not going to just make a purchase now.
Right.
And that's
You're
kind
in
of what
the
he's saying.
zone. You're in the zone. Like
Yeah.
you feel when you walk in, you know.
You know what? It's interesting because I guess I'm grateful that I'm getting that feedback and people that come in are really appreciative of it. And it's nice because, again, personally, I never take my foot off the gas. I always want more, better.
always been that way.
I'm just
Always
that's
been
just
that
the way I
way.
am. You know.
How do you do that and then also yell and scream in TikTok and dress up like Abe Lincoln? Let's go there. Let's talk about the Abe Lincoln campaign.
Well, you
and
know,
all those great campaigns
Abe was just trying to get ahead. I mean, he's wants to come back.
but they work. But they work. So you have all these unique campaigns built around a jewelry company,
Yeah.
a jewelry brand.
Yeah.
And they don't have anything to do with the brand. That's why I think it works. But that's why I
Right.
think it works. We
Well,
talk about that a lot.
Yeah, we talk about small
It's-
business people being their brand, right?
Right.
And that's you have to have fun. I think having fun is people get to see the true side of you. I get my kids involved with a lot of this stuff too. And during COVID, I had my daughter and myself do a show, right, and just be real. I think if we could be real and always be fair, right, and always do our best, then no one could ever question us. And I tell people that all the time in business is, don't try to take advantage of people. Do the right thing by people, right? Every single time, just do your best. And if you fail, you fail. You apologize, you fix it, you make it right, right? I mean, it happens, right? And I have people that come into me. I can't close every single person that comes in. People engagement ring shop like they car shop, right? They want a deal, they want this, they want that. And some people don't choose us. But you know what? This is the best I got, right? And if I'm consistent every single time in business, then there's no, well, you'll get this price A and you'll get price B. Why? Because you look like you have more
Right.
money.
Right.
Sorry.
So it's like the car
Sorry.
sales. No, it's
Yeah,
like the car
yeah,
salesman.
yeah.
You walk into Maserati dressed like me, no one's going to give you the time of day.
Right.
You walk in dressed like Dan, they're all over him. But then
Right.
I take the wad of cash
Right.
and go like this and
Yeah.
tell them you're an idiot.
Yeah,
Because
you're
I-
an idiot.
And that's
Right.
it.
Right.
You hit
walk
them on
out.
the head with it,
Right.
right?
Like, excuse me, he looks good, but I have $100,000
Funny, right?
cash. What would you want to do?
Yeah, it's people,
See
right?
the size
That's
of
it.
that wad?
That's it.
You can never-
That's the thing. That's the way, hey guys. So
Dan's
that's
making fun of
never,
my wife.
never
This is
judge-
the way.
Never judge a person by their dress.
Well, I probably got $5 on my road.
Yeah, well,
Got
not
nothing.
much.
I got nothing.
Yeah, with credit cards and everything else now, but it's been nice. It's been a nice transition, and I'm excited where Red Bank is going. Being able to help a lot of people so far, more than I expected. So it's very nice.
So how long? Give me the timeline. 2009.
Yeah.
So where are we going the next 2 years? Give us a 1 year outlook both for the flagship that we know and come to love, and where you think the new concierge service is in a year from now.
Where are they going? So Staten Island's going to continue being Staten Island. Of course, I'm there when I need to be. My staff is handling Staten Island very well, and I'm working remote, we'll call it, right?
Good for you.
Which is good. So I'm going half and half right now with Red Bank and Staten Island, but still dealing with customers when they need me to go show up and do what I have to do. My projections are just keep pushing. I guess I don't have a number in mind.
No,
but
not
I just
numbers. I
wanna-
just meant where
I
you
guess,
see
I
the
guess
brand.
evolving. Yeah, just evolving into someone people want to do business with, and having the right people around me to do that. Look, I think you guys know, we spend the majority of our lives with the people we work with, or the people that work for us, right? And if you don't enjoy their presence and they don't respect you, then what do you have really, right? And you have a very uncomfortable environment, but I'm blessed to have great people. I mean, they're all in, right? They're always smiling, right? We're always having a good time.
Well,
And-
to your face.
no, but we try. That's the thing. Like, it's a cool vibe, And when I grew up, and I said this in the beginning, is I wanted to be the Cheers of jewelry stores. That when you walk in, we know your name, we know what's going on in your life. How's your kids? How's this? How's that? And that's what I saw with my parents when they ran the jewelry store as a kid. So it really, just keep going, just keep the train moving, right? And I think just evolving, like with the times. I don't know if 2 years was going to happen. They're talking about AI stuff going on. There's people that could talk to you. They're not real. I don't know.
It's happening now.
What the
This is
heck's
not even
happening.
Mike. This is a
Yeah,
chat GPT,
I can tell
artificial
the guy on his
intelligence.
shirt. Yeah, the guy on his
Right.
shirt. But it's really some interesting stuff. I mean, it really. I don't know how that's going to affect the jewelry store. I mean, supposedly it's like a McDonald's now. It's all robotic. I mean, that's absurd.
You're always going to need a diamond.
No, of course.
Or-
No, I'm
so
just saying more so just.
You may not have to sell
Are
it,
you?
but
You're Mr. NFT. What if
Yeah.
I want to get engaged to you with an NFT?
that's a little wild.
Right.
Oh,
I mean, I think
that's where
but
you
here's
draw
where
the
it
line.
makes sense. Here's where it makes sense. If you go to Casale Jewelers, Breitling does it. You know this.
Yeah.
I don't know if Rolex does it, but I know Breitling does it. I'm not a Rolex guy. You buy a Breitling, you immediately take it home, you scan, and you have an NFT. Now you can sell the NFT
And keep the
and
physical.
keep the physical, or what they have are storage facilities where you could store and warehouse jewelry and other goods.
Yeah.
So the Mona Lisa, right? So someone owns it somewhere, blah blah blah. It's in the Louvre. But in theory, you can fragmentize that whole thing,
Yeah,
right? And you
I
can
know.
sell 100
Oh, I
pieces.
get
of
it. Is
and
that still
everyone can own
going
a
as
piece.
strong as it was? I feel like it died a little bit. Didn't
It died
down?
because the forefront is not talking
Yes,
about it.
I don't know. It's always puzzling to me getting a piece of something.
It'll
You know,
be
a
that-
piece of
that-
pie, piece of pizza.
You're gonna be buying. Listen, you're gonna be buying a car, buying a house, leasing a vehicle with an NFT. It's just
crazy,
easier.
isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah. I guess,
Sporting events, tickets.
Everything, ticketing.
Everything. Well, I mean, you could even virtually go into a metaverse and just attend a sports
See
game.
that I don't believe in that. I'm not that crazy. But everything else makes sense because it's
weird.
utility.
Why can't you sit down in a chair and be at the game?
Right. I don't believe it. But think about it.
What
People
do you mean you don't believe
choose.
in it? I own the
People
stock.
choose
I have
what's
to believe in
easy
it.
over what has friction every time. Yeah. Uber. No one was going to pay $20 to get across town. Sure, they were. It's going to save you 20 minutes.
Right.
Even if you can't afford it, you're going to do it. You know what I mean? Even if you're not that kind of a
No,
guy.
I get
or
it.
gal.
I get it.
Well, look at DoorDash and like how much that exploded.
It's
And again,
wild, DoorDash.
I use it probably 4 or 5 times a week.
But I didn't know how much it cost. I told. I
Oh,
the other
if
day-
you go and look, they make money, and then you're also tipping, and you want to tip well because you don't want them to spit in your food or eat your food. And then the other thing is they now have the option where you could do priority, where
Yeah, I saw that.
basically
Lyft does that
$2.99
too.
extra,
Yeah.
they come straight to you. However, I am on to you, DoorDash drivers. You're delivering for DoorDash and Uber Eats
Right.
because the map still shows me you're going way out of not to my house to go drop something else off, but you
But for
never.
$3
you only
it's
had-
worth it.
But
Yes.
You do it.
I always do. Try to do it, but I get so annoyed when I
Convenience.
see them driving past my house and going around.
Yeah.
But it's adapting with change and seeing
Adapting
where
with change.
solving problems, right?
Yeah.
And that's what most businesses are solving problems. And you found what did people not like through the jewelry experience? What did they like? And here we are. Now we have this boutique.
Right.
Well, I think you're the trendsetter in this situation, right? Like you're ahead of what jewelry could turn into.
Right. I hope so. I do have a vision, hopefully, of this working out where I can become more of not so local, but expanding my reach through the design of rings and such, where I could share. You could share screens. I could share a
Right.
design screen.
That makes
Set up
perfect sense.
our
You don't
design
need
sessions.
inventory, right? That's the beauty of it.
Right, people buy stuff online anyway.
And you get
That's
it
the thing. And
custom.
right, and they're not right. They're getting from somebody else. It's all drop shipping. All the online businesses, the jewelry businesses, are all just drop shipping through different vendors, which is fine. They do a great job. Not knocking them at
The
all.
If
Joma
you
shops,
really
the
want to
watch
get-
winders of the world.
And
Yeah.
if you really want to do it, you could even make like a beautiful kit and you almost mail them out with a return label, a virtual reality headset. So you're actually showing them and they're seeing it like right in front of them.
There you go.
Talk to Techie Geek. We could sell you
I,
whatever you need.
I got a guy. I got it. Oh, there you go.
So we got to get this wrapped up, but quickly before we close, any parting words for businesses that are emerging, that something that you would instill in them for tips on branding and marketing yourself in a business?
Yeah, just never give up. Be you, right? I think everybody has a personality. Everybody has traits that lead to them having friends, having relationships, and being real. I think in the business world, especially in Staten Island, people want to see that. I think it's never ending, right? It's a lifestyle we live, right? Just like we would be a parent, we're a business owner, right? Just like we would be a student in school, right? Whether we did good in school or not, we were still there, right? So you whatever you're into, I always just tell people, be your best all the time. Everything's a blessing, right? So everything's a gift. It could be gone tomorrow, right? So I have young children. They're 11, 10, and 7. I teach them to give everything they got to everything they do. It's my model. If not, then don't do it.
Right.
So
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah, don't give half. Don't go 50%. Give 100. And if you in sports now, especially, right, because my kids play a lot of sports, it's like, hey man, listen, I know you're sore, I know whatever, but go out there and give 110% regardless, right?
Well,
Show
we had
them.
this conversation with Homer Bush from the Ferry Hawks. Are you a guy that's give everyone a participation trophy, or first place is first place and everybody else loses?
I mean, I don't give that stuff really. I tell my kids, I guess I don't. We don't. It's more the league, I guess. But am I for that or against that? I guess I'd be against it. I guess
Against everyone getting a trophy.
Right. Yeah. I think.
What's
if you
wrong
win,
with you?
win,
You should
win.
be saying I'm for it, not
Because then
trophies.
his
Everyone
kids-
should
well, I'll
get
still
should
sell
get
them.
Don't
participation
I'll
bracelets
still
or
sell
something.
them.
Well, yeah, you can still sell them. But I'm
No,
saying
but
that,
listen,
that's to your point.
we do dog
competitive.
tags from some of the little leagues. We do stuff like that, but it's all for the winners. It's not for the.
Well, what Homer Bush said is the fact that what you're seeing a lot of these little league teams is some of these people stack the teams, and they have the capability to go out and get these grade A players, practice 6 times a week, and then it makes the other teams that don't have these players feel like, hey, I can't win first place, and they kind of give up, even though that one kid might be the best player in the league, but his team isn't stacked.
All right, so that's what I tell my kids is go be better then. Go earn it. Go out there and fight for it. Then be out there every single day in the garage. I have a net in my garage for baseball. Go out
There
there
you
and
go.
hit every single day. There's a good on HBO. I was on a plane flying back from Florida, and there's the Shaquille O'Neal documentary on HBO.
Who would have
This-
thought? I'll
you
watch
see
it. No, but I'm saying I would never thought
So
you were
good.
going to quote Shaq.
No, it wasn't
Shaq
even a
Diesel?
quote of it. Well, yeah, because they, you know what, they would hack him, right? The hack a Shaq, remember? And he said he went back and he did about 1,000 free throws a day, right? And it was him failing so much, right? He was a big, giant guy that couldn't control his body. His legs would crumble. He'd fall on the floor. So he couldn't. He was like 6'11" or whatever at like 12 years old, or whatever it was, 6'6", maybe, whatever it was. But I remember him, and I made my kids watch it too. Or they were next to me, like, watch this, because he was so real about his experience of failing that pushed him to work harder than anybody else, right? And if you're gonna win, then go out there and work harder than everybody else, because there's people with talent. And if everybody's got some type of talent, right? But there's people out there that are going to work harder than you. And if they work harder than you, that'll overcome any talent that you have. So the same thing in business. Look, go work harder than the next man. If you see your competition doing something, work harder, do better, be better. Look to resources on Staten Island. I look to Phil Graneri and Christine Fiorenza, right? And they were able to lead me at least to learn a little bit, and then at least be able to ask. People want to talk about their experience, right? Want to talk about what they've done and to win, and what they've done to fail, right? And that conversation is great, because if you absorb it and you really do appreciate it, that's when you start to grow through failure. So I've experienced a bunch of failure. I've done a bunch of things, but you know what? I pick myself right back up and I learn from it and just push forward. And when something succeeds, I bank on it and I just keep trying to do it even better, right? So I think that's the number one thing to give a business owner is never give up.
King of Diamonds, words of wisdom.
Giddy up.
So, listen, Cory, thank you for sharing your story today. We're going to wrap it up now. Great having you as a guest here.
Thank you.
Casale Jewelers, Richmond Road, Staten Island, Red Bank. Where are you located in Red Bank?
157 Broad Street.
Where's the best way for people to find you online?
You go to my website, casalejewelers.net. There are appointment links right at the top for Red Bank and for Staten Island. Happy to help you with any of your jewelry, watch, and needs.
So thank you to my co-host, Anthony Rappaciullo, PR Cision, Mike Bloomfield,
Thank
Tech
you,
Geek.
Cory.
Make sure to like, subscribe. And I'm
Follow
Dan,
us on Spotify.
and I'm Dan Ryan.
Apple Music.
And that's a wrap.
Well, that's a wrap. Goodbye, Anthony.
Anthony, you're out.